So ultra processed or minimally processed diets following healthy dietary guidelines on weight and metabolic cardiometabolic health. A randomized crossover trial. So the randomized crossover trial is the interesting part there, where we're actually doing a group and then it's changing over and then they're changing over back. So let's see what they found. So here we go. The interesting part, I think, here is that, can you guys read this? Tell me, give me feedback, guys. Is this actually working? Can you actually see this? So it's questioning is, how hungry do you feel right now? That's the question that they're asking these people that are on a minimally processed foods or ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods are basically, they're kind of like protein shakes and the very, very processed foods. So the hungrier is the ultra processed foods is going to be the top blue line. So that means that the ultra processed foods are hungrier than the minimally processed foods. So when they're eating, they are not feeling satiated so that they can eat more, right? That is what they found in this study. The second one is, how sick do you feel right now? And if they feel sick, that's bad, obviously, right? And we can see that the blue line again is feeling those people are lower, right? How sick do you feel right now? Yeah, so they're feeling worse. And then how much do you think you could eat right now? So the blue line on the right-hand side is that it's higher, right? It's actually higher. So they feel like they could eat more. And we actually see this importantly on here. So inside the study here, they actually show, and in the diet and intake. So this is in the kind of the protocols and the methods section. This is where they have diet and intake. So the self-reported diet intake data from the minimally processed foods, MPF, and the ultra processed foods, UPF diets are in the tables, but we're not going to look at that. In the sample, energy intake was minus 500 calories per day for the minimally processed food diet and minus 300 for the ultra processed food. So what does that mean? So what that means is that the minimally processed food diets were able to go at minus 500 calories per day, while the ultra processed foods were able to go up to minus 300 calories a day. So in other words, and if we think about it in the context of how hungry these people were, right? These people that had ultra processed foods were basically more hungry, and they were eating more food at the same time. So that really makes a big difference on how you feel, if you can have a caloric deficit, and let's see how it actually impacted their weight loss. So at the end of the day, this is how you can look at the weight loss and the weight change that was happening. So on the left-hand side, the minimally processed foods, that red line right there is how much weight the minimally processed foods people lost. So that means that the minimally processed foods cohort, that means that they've lost more weight, they felt better, they felt more full, and they felt less sick. The ultra processed foods, they did lose a significant amount of weight, but they felt sicker and they felt like they were actually hungry the entire time. And the other graphs on the right-hand side shows that they were going down over time. So what does this mean? Does this mean that ultra-processed foods are entirely bad and that we should never eat them? No, I don't think so at all. So for me, personally, I think I like to keep it simple for my diet. I like to actually, I think protein is probably the most important thing I go for. I get 200 grams of protein a day, and that's kind of like where I start. And then from there, I add in other things. I don't even think about carbs because carbs just kind of are in everything. You don't really have to worry about that. And fats, I don't really think about either. But I just try to focus on protein. And so, and Chance, this is a great question, great point. What's my go-to protein? So I do go, a lot of my protein is from ultra processed foods. So about 100 grams a day is from protein shakes or a protein bar or something like that. And like, would my health be worse off if I just entirely took those out? I think so. And I think that that's the problem, is that if you entirely abandon processed foods, you're just not going to be able to get these macros that you need. You're not going to be able to get the protein that you need. You're not going to be able to eat and maintain muscle mass, and that's just not good. You need to be able to eat, like weightlifting twice a week is a good plan, and you need to be eating protein.